So what's up, guys? Souter Chapter back, and today we are here with NFL Week Lansmore predictions. It is Week 16, and it is also my Christmas special, or holiday special at this point. You know, this is probably going to be going up on the 24th, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays out to everyone out there. Anyways, if you just want to see certain matchups, timestamps are in the description below. Hopefully, in this Week 16, I can go a perfect 16 for 16. Anyways, 16 matches to get to, so let's get this video started. Alright, so usually on a regular Christmas day in terms of sports, you're getting at least 5 basketball games. But this time we have 5 basketball games and 1 NFL game between the Minnesota Vikings and my boys in the New Orleans Saints. I didn't even know that there'd be a Christmas game this year. I was so hyped when I found that out. Playing the Vikings has me super scared, but anyways, let's get to it. Vikings, this is your last chance. You lose, you're out of the playoffs. Anyways, you lost to the Bears 33-27. Kirk Cousins wasn't exactly his best self. He threw for 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Like, I don't know. He's been pretty good for you this season. He's not the problem. It's that defense. Dalvin Cook had a very good game, ran for 132 yards and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson, he also had a pretty good day with 8 receptions for 104 yards. Tim Conklin, he had 57 yards, and yeah, that was pretty much it. Like, no one else was really a big receiving threat. I mean, Adam Thielen, he only had 2 catches for 11 yards, but he did have a touchdown, so there is that. You know, the defense had a lot of trouble with the Bears. Their rushing game was absolutely killing you, and the passing game did do a little bit of damage to you. But anyways, and then on to the Saints. Against the Chiefs, I was hoping we could pull out a statement victory. Sadly, we didn't, but we made it pretty damn close. Anyways, Drew Brees, under 50% completion percentage, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. I don't fully blame him for the loss. The main people I blame is the receiving corps, because many of those incompletions came from passes that should have been caught by our receivers. Now, he didn't fully help it since he was pretty ballsy. You know, he made a couple of bad throws. But anyways, not bad in his return. Rushing game was nothing. Only put up 60 yards because Alvin Kamara led with 54. Lead receiver was Emmanuel Sanders with 76 yards. But Alvin Kamara, he did rack up 30 receiving yards and a touchdown. And Lil Humphrey Jr., you know, we had no Michael Thomas. And Traquan Smith, he was out for most of the game. He had 29 yards and a touchdown. The ball was pretty spread around because Breeze, he loves to spread the ball around. The defense had trouble against the Chiefs, but it's the Chiefs. What are you going to do? But anyways, the Saints, we are favored to win this one by 7. I say that we win, cover the spread, and knock the Vikings out. I don't care what they do to us in the playoffs. I just want the Vikings gone. Saints win and cover the spread. And now we're moving on to our very next matchup. So on December 26th, you know, Boxing Day, one thing that I get up here in Toronto is, of course, the World Hockey Juniors. That starts on Boxing Day, but we also get 3 NFL games. First one between the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Starting out with the Buccaneers, you know, against the Falcons. You know, you beat the Falcons. I mean, they choked. Like, what do I expect? Tom Brady erased another amazing deficit that he was down. He was down by 17 to the Falcons. He erased that. He had 390 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. You had no Rojo or Ronald Jones. But Leonard Fournette, he ran for 49 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lead receiver was Mike Evans. He just gashed that Falcons secondary with 110 yards. And Antonio Brown finally broke out with 93 yards and a touchdown. Cameron Brate also had a solid day, 54 yards and a touchdown. And then finished that off with Chris Godwin with 36 yards and a touchdown. So, anyways, the defense was really bad in the first half. You know, Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley, Ronald Gage, they just completely demolished you. But in the end, your defense was able to clutch up and stop the Falcons. But it's a choking Falcons team. I don't expect much out of them. And then the Lions, you know, against the Titans, I didn't really expect much. And, yeah, you know, you lost. But Matt Stafford, he's not the problem in Detroit. I always thought he was pretty overrated. I feel bad for thinking about that. He threw for 252 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Lead rusher was DeAndre Swift with 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. I kept telling you, play a little bit more DeAndre Swift. It'll get you better results. So, anyways, with no Kenny Golladay, you still had a lot of production from Marvin Jones Jr. with 112 yards and a touchdown, followed by Harrison Bryant with 44 yards and Mohamed Sanu with 38. So, that's pretty much it what I'm going to say about them. The defense was torn apart by Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, Corey Davis. So, there's nothing really to be ashamed of there. Bucks are favored to win this one by 8. I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our second Saturday football matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. Starting out with the 49ers against the banged-up Dallas squad. This was literally like injury bowl, but Dallas was the winner of that one. Nick Mullins, he's not the guy for you. He's not. He threw for 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. They brought in C.J. Beathard. He threw one Hail Mary. He actually threw he threw for 100 yards and a touchdown. He actually got to throw in the Hail Mary to end the first half, so maybe he could be your option, but no. Go back with Jimmy Garoppolo. Lead rusher was Raheem Mostert with 68 yards, followed by Jeff Wilson Jr. with 60 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Kendrick Bourne with 86 and a touchdown, and Brandon Ayuk with 73 and a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk is absolutely dirty. Like, he has been lighting it up. I thought he could be a nice compliment to Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is probably going to have to compliment him next season. But anyways, the defense had some trouble against Dallas, but usually they had a short field to work with because you turn the ball over 4 times, and they also did return an onside kick for a touchdown. And then the Cardinals, big win over Philly, keeping your playoff hopes alive because you really needed to win that game. Kyler Murray, he threw for 406 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, so he was balling. Lead rusher was Chase Edmonds with 47 yards, and then followed by Kyler Murray with 29 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver DeAndre Hopkins, man, he just had a fun day. 169 yards, good job, and a touchdown. Dan Arnold is kind of like a low-key, an okay tight end with 54 yards, followed by Mike Williams with 42, Johnson at 38, and of course, finally, Larry Fitzgerald with 35 yards and a touchdown. Glad he finally got what he needed. The defense... Jalen Hurts is looking to be the new starter. Carson Wentz wants out of Philly. So losing to Jalen Hurts. So, Jalen Hurts keeping it close. I don't really have a problem with that, but you got to work some things out with that defense. But anyways, Cardinals are favored to win this one by 4, so I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. Now you have our final Saturday matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Las Vegas Raiders. At the beginning of the season, who thought that this would be a matchup where there were serious playoff implications? I didn't think that. And now it is Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa against the Patriots. He was okay. Like, first half, he wasn't really anything special. But the second half, he pieced together a nice performance. So he threw for 145 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Ahmed with 122 yards, followed by Matt Breida with 86. But the main guy with touchdowns was Tua Tagovailoa with 9 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Lead receiver was Dwight Smith with 40 yards, followed by Bowden Jr. with 37. So he really didn't have any of his big playmakers. No Jakeem Grant, no Albert Wilson, no Devontae Parker, no Mike Gesicki. And he did an okay job against the solid Patriots defense, so not too bad to it. And then, the defense forced a turnover and was able to limit the Patriots. So you knocked them out of the playoffs. You're our heroes now. And then the Raiders, against the Chargers, I was expecting a loss. Derek Carr, he threw for 53 yards. He only threw 5 passes. He got injured. Looks like he injured somewhere down his groin region. He was just kind of like hopping off with it. But Marcus Mariota came in, and he wasn't too bad. 226 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He also followed up with 88 rushing yards and a touchdown, followed by Josh Jacobs with 76 yards and a touchdown. So Mariota, he could possibly be a starter somewhere else. Lead receiver, Darren Waller. He, right now, I have him as the 3rd best tight end in the NFL, still behind Kittle and Kelsey, but that's nothing to be ashamed of. He had 150 yards and a touchdown, followed by Nelson Aguilar with 49 yards, and Josh Jacobs with 38. And that was pretty much it. No one really, shined as well as those guys did. The defense just was picked apart by Justin Herbert, but he's a lock for Rookie of the Year, so no shame in that. Dolphins are favored to win this one by 2.5. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread and knock the Raiders out of the playoffs race. And now you have our very first Sunday matchup between the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. Starting out with the Browns, against the Giants, you did what I expected. Baker Mayfield, he had a pretty good day, threw for 297 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and this is against a decent defense, so good job, Baker. Lead rusher was Nick Chubb. He had 50 yards and a touchdown. That was pretty much it. No one else really thrived in the rushing game. Lead receiver was Rashard Higgins with 76 yards, followed by Jarvis Landry with 61 yards and a touchdown. Donovan Peoples-Jones had 55, and then Austin Hooper finally had a decent game with 44 yards and a touchdown. Anyways, the defense did a good job against the Colt McCoy-led team. But it's Colt McCoy, but you know what? Take all the wins you can get. You're 10-4. I want to see you make the playoffs because you deserve it, It was a long way up, and you made it. And then the Jets. What? You won a game. But what did it cost you? It may have just cost you Trevor Lawrence, because don't forget, you may have won, but currently but you're tied with Jacksonville, and you have the tiebreaker. So right now, you're 31st. They're 32nd. The Jags have the number 1 pick. Anyway, Sam Darnold did a good job against the Rams. 207 yards and a touchdown. Frank Gore ran for 59 yards and a touchdown. Jamison Crowder was your lead receiver with 66 yards, followed by Herndon with 48 yards, and then Johnson with 39 yards and a touchdown. Anyways, in terms of your defense, the fact that you were able to stop the Rams is absolutely laughable. Like, this is just way too goddamn funny. I can't keep going on anymore. Browns are favored to win this one by 9. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread, but if you lose, just don't, please. Don't. And now you have our very next matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Giants. Starting out with the Ravens, you know, despite you having a little bit of trouble like mid-season, you guys are starting to get hot, and it's at the right time, so good job. Lamar Jackson is finally looking like himself again. He threw for 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. He is throwing more picks than he usually is, so that's a bit of a concern, but I'm not. It's okay. Lead rusher was J.K. Dobbins with 64 yards and a touchdown, followed by Gus Edwards with 42 yards, and then Lamar Jackson with 35 and a touchdown. So if you could just keep the rushing game strong and, you know, not have to throw the ball all the time, you should be pretty good. Anyways, lead receiver was Hollywood Brown with 98 yards, so he's doing better. Mark Andrews followed that up with 66 yards and a touchdown. Gus Edwards with 36. J.K. Dobbins with 17, but the big one was Des Bryant, 1 reception, 11 yards and a touchdown. First touchdown he had since, like, 2017, I think, or 2016. I don't know. He has just been injured a whole lot, and I'm glad he's back. You know, the defense stopped the Jags, but it's the Jags. Not that shocked. And then the Giants, yeah, you guys should really look into getting a new quarterback. I don't think it can be Daniel Jones, and it sure as hell is not going to be Colt McCoy, even though he runs this team a little bit better. McCoy had 221 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Alfred Morris with 39 yards, followed by Wayne Gallman with 29 yards. In terms of receiving, leader was Darius Slayton with 74 yards, followed by Sterling Shepard with 51, Evan Ingram with 46. And that's really what I can say about the receiving. No one else really did that well. The defense was torn apart by the Browns, even though you did give up only just 20 points. You know, Cleveland was just ultimately the better team. Currently, there is no favorite to win this one, but give me the Ravens. They have a paper soft schedule to end the season, so I expect the playoffs. You better make it. And now you have our very next matchup between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Chicago Bears. Starting out with the Jaguars, you now have the #1 pick. You got the #1 pick. You could use it on Trevor Lawrence. Anyways, Gardner Minshew against the Ravens was nothing. 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So, actually, no, never mind. Not too bad. Anyways, James Robinson could get nothing going. He had 35 rushing yards on 16 carries. Lead receiver was DJ Chark with 53 yards, followed by Tyler Eifert with 51. Laviska Shenault Jr. had 43, and Keenan Cole Sr. had 22. So, honestly, it was not a good game for you guys. You know, against the Ravens, I was expecting a loss, and really nothing else. And then the Bears, you're still shocking me. Like, Trubisky, like, Matt Nagy's been getting a little bit better with his play calling, at least utilizing the rushing game more, which is helping you win. Trubisky threw for 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. David Montgomery, he had 32 carries, 146 yards, and 2 touchdowns against that pass rush. It's not too bad. Anyways, but lead receiver was Allen Robinson with 83 yards, followed by Darryl Mooney with 49 yards and a touchdown, followed by Jimmy Graham with 25. And that was pretty much it. Like, if you just focus to more of a ground attack, I can see much better things for you in the future. I still don't think you're going to make the playoffs, but next season, just, like, play more of a rush. You know, you're not going to win with the passing game. Just play with the rushing game and maybe draft a new quarterback. I mean, if you draft a new quarterback, then maybe you could get something better out of the passing game and just be ultimately a better team. But anyways, Bears are favored to win this one by 7.5. I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the Kansas City Chiefs. Starting out with the Falcons, fuck you. Like, literally, fuck you. I was hoping I could win my division last week, and you fucked that up. Delete your franchise. Like, no joke. I would delete the franchise. It's nothing but choking and failure. Matt Ryan, he threw for 356 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, so he played well. But other than that, you know, the defense was terrible. Anyways, absolutely nothing out of the rushing game. You ran the ball 13 freaking times. Why not run the ball a little bit more in the second half instead of going so heavy on the pass? Anyways, lead receiver was Calvin Ridley with 163 yards and a touchdown, followed by Ronald Gage with 68 yards. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The defense, you know, in the first half was actually pretty good. Didn't allow a single Tampa Bay score. Oh, wait, but then comes the second half when your defense decides to kill itself. Just disgusting. And then the Chiefs, you beat the Saints, you know, beating a top dog, so you still remain as #1. Patrick Mahomes, he threw for 254 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Had a little bit more trouble than he has against other teams, but he still was able to pull out the win. The rushing game was amazing against the Saints. Strong pass rush. Where's that pass rush, boys? Where is it? Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he ran for 79 yards. Le'Veon Bell had 62 and a touchdown, followed by Patrick Mahomes with 37 yards. Lead receiver was Travis Kelce with 68 yards and a touchdown, followed by Sammy Watkins with 60 yards. Tyreek Hill with 53 yards and a touchdown, and the only other person to have a touchdown was McCole Hardman on a nice, sweet toe tap in the end zone. He had 22 and a touchdown, so yeah. The defense was forcing a lot of Saints 3-and-outs, got scorched every now and then, but ultimately it was close. I mean, the Saints, we didn't really imply much of a rush game, which I really think we should have, but anyways, good enough for a victory for the Chiefs. They're favored to win this one by 10. I'm just going to say that they win and cover the spread. Straight up. And now you have our very next matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Starting out with the Colts against the Texans. You pulled out the victory, 27-20. Phillip Rivers, he threw for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lead rusher was Jonathan Taylor with 83 and a touchdown. Keep him as your lead rusher. Lead receiver this time wasn't T.Y. Hilton. It was actually Zach Pascal with 79 yards and 2 touchdowns, but T.Y. Hilton complimented him nicely with 71 yards. So good game overall. Anyways, but the defense had a lot of trouble with the Texans. David Johnson was their lead receiver for God's sakes, but still pulled out the victory. And then the Steelers, you lost to the Bengals. You should have no pride anymore. Ben Roethlisberger, he threw for 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Lead rusher was Benny Snell Jr. with 84 and a touchdown. So you did use a little bit more of a rushing attack, which is good, but still not enough. Deontay Johnson had 59 yards and a touchdown, followed by Chase Claypool with 54 yards, Benny Snell Jr. with 23. And, of course, the big headline of the game was Juju Smith-Schuster. He said he wasn't going to dance on logos again, but he immediately jumps back on the Bengals logo, does his Corvette, and gets absolutely decked by Von Bell. So the memes are coming out of just instant karma. So Juju had 15 yards, and that was pretty much it, including that fumble. But anyways, the defense, you lost to Ryan Finley. I'm just going to stop there. Nothing else needs to be said. Colts are favored to win this one by 1.5. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Houston Texans. Starting out with the Bengals, you won. You beat the Steelers with Ryan Finley. So, yeah, that's pretty much, that's good. Ryan Finley, he threw for 89 yards and a touchdown. Lead rusher was Giovanni Bernard with 83 yards and a touchdown. And Ryan Finley also followed that up with 47 rushing yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was A.J. Green with 40 yards, followed by T. Higgins with 31. And then Giovanni Bernard had 1 reception for 14 yards and a touchdown. And that was pretty much it. No one else really did well in receiving. The defense was able to hold off the Steelers for the whole first half. Yeah, they did claw back at you in the second half, but ultimately you pulled out in the end, so good job. And then on to the Texans. You did the same thing that you did against the Colts in your first matchup. So, game on the line, near the goal line, you fumbled. I'll get to that soon. Deshaun Watson threw for 373 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. David Johnson ran for 27 yards, but he did make up for that with 11 receptions for 106 yards. Followed by Brandon Cooks with 59 yards, Chris Hansen with 53, and then Kiki Kute. He was part of the reason why you scored and part of the reason why you lost. So he had 53 yards and a touchdown, and of course, what happened was it was like the Texans, they're trying to get a touchdown. They converted the 4th down. They got it past the line where they needed to get that 1st down, and then as Kute dives to the end zone, he fumbled the ball, and the Colts recovered and won the game. The defense had some trouble against the Colts. But it's the Colts. They're a decent offense, depending on how Rivers plays. And Rivers had a good game. So, yeah, they ended up winning. Currently, the Texans are favored to win this one by 9. I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our very first 4 o'clock matchup between the LA Chargers and the Denver Broncos. Starting out with the Broncos, against the Bills, it was just absolute annihilation. Drew Lock threw for 132 yards. 1 touchdown, no picks, but he did have 1 crucial lost fumble, which Buffalo did return for a touchdown. So, yeah. Lead rusher was Melvin Gordon with 61 yards and 2 touchdowns, followed by Phillip Lindsay with 38 yards. Lead receiver was Noah Fant with 68 yards and a touchdown. So, he is a pretty good receiving threat. Other than that, yeah, no one else really did that much in terms of receiving game. But your defense was torn apart by the Bills for over 500 yards. But that's what I'd expect, because the Bills, they're a pretty damn good team. Like, I don't see really anything stopping them at this point. And then the Chargers, against the Raiders, you pulled out the victory. You did pull out in overtime, and Anthony Lynn almost blew the game again, but you still won. Justin Herbert still proving that he's amazing. He threw for 314 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Austin Eckler, he ran for 60 yards, but use him on the freaking goal line. And this is also for fantasy reasons, and I was getting pretty pissed off. Justin Herbert, he followed up with 14 rushing yards and the game-winning touchdown, which he kind of just like did like a QB sneak and just barely got in. Kaleem Ballage, he had 11 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Guyton with 91 yards, followed by Hunter Henry with 65 yards and a touchdown, followed by Tyler Johnson with 61 yards and a touchdown. So honestly, good game overall in the offense. The defense had some trouble, especially against Marcus Mariota. So there's a little bit of question there. I think Mariota still has a chance to be a starter in the NFL. He just needs the right team to do it. Chargers are favored to win this one by 3. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Washington football team. Starting out with the Panthers, against the Packers, like I thought you could maybe pull off some kind of miracle. You did not. Anyways, Teddy Bridgewater, he threw for 258 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, but I don't really think he can be the starter for you going forward. Leader rusher was Mike Davis with 59 yards, followed by Teddy Bridgewater with 26 and a touchdown. Anyways, lead receiver was DJ Moore. He had 6 receptions for 131 yards, followed by Curtis Samuel with 42 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense was actually not too bad against the passing game, but really struggled against the rushing game as Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Jamal Williams, and Aaron Rodgers just ran all over you, in particular Aaron Jones. And then the football team, I said this in my last prediction video. You can pull that up, and I proved. I said, you know, Seahawks are going to win. They're not going to cover the spread, but Washington's going to keep it close and say, like, we're legit. We have a chance. I was right. They lost 20-15. Dwayne Haskins threw for 295 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Lead rusher was J.D. McKissick with 51 yards, followed by Dwayne Haskins with 28. So you guys are seeming to really miss Antonio Gibson. So if you can get him back, that rushing game will be pretty good. It's still pretty solid. Lead receiver was Logan Thomas with 101 receiving yards, followed by Terry McLaurin with 77 yards, followed by J.D. McKissick with 56 and a touchdown. And that was pretty much it. The defense did okay. Like, it had some trouble against the rushing game of the Seahawks. Did well against the pass. But other than that, you know, you guys were just short of a victory. But you know what? GG. Good game, guys. The football team, they are favored to win this one by 2.5. This is Riverboat Ron's revenge. Because, you know, last year he got fired by Carolina and now is the head coach for Washington. So, give me the football team with a 2.5 spread. They win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Starting off with the Rams, fuck you. You ruined 0-16 with a loss to the New York Jets. Anyways, Jared Goff threw for 209 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. I think your punishment should be you missed the playoffs. Like, that's just humiliating enough in itself. Cam Akers led with 63 rushing yards, but why didn't you let him rush more? Like, if you're trying to conserve him for the playoffs, first off, try to maybe make the playoffs, and then worry about Cam Akers. Lead receiver was Tyler Higbee with 67 yards and a touchdown, followed by Robert Woods with 56 and a touchdown. He also did have 1 end around for 40 yards, so that's pretty good. No one else was really a big receiving threat. I mean, Cooper Kupp and Gerald Everett, they were okay, but nothing really that special. The defense got picked apart by Sam Darnold. I have many issues with that, so I'm not going to even get to that. And then the Seahawks, something I've seen in the season is that production on defense has gone up, but offense has slowly gone down. So, well, offense was here and defense was here. Defense is like up here right now, and offense is kind of here, in my opinion. Russell Wilson, not going to win the MVP. He threw for 121 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Chris Carson ran for 63 yards. Carlos Hyde, he only had 2 rushes, but he did have 55 yards and a touchdown, followed by Russell Wilson with 52 yards. Lead receiver was DK Metcalf with 43 yards, followed by Tyler Lockett with 34 yards, and then Jacob Hollister capped it off with 17 and a touchdown. No one else really did anything in the receiving game. The defense was able to stop the football team, even though it was a Dwayne Haskins-led team, but, they still have a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, the football team does. Seahawks, if you win this one, I'm pretty sure you win the division. So they're favored to win this one by 2.5. I'm going to say that they win and cover. Now you have our final 4 o'clock matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. A good classic NFC East rivalry. So anyways, starting out with the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he may be the starting option for Philly, even though you lost to the Cardinals 33-26. Hurts played well with 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Miles Sanders with 64 yards, followed by Jalen Hurts with 63 and a touchdown. In terms of receiving, Zach Ertz was your leader with 2 receptions for 69 yards. And then Alshon Jeffrey with 63 yards. Jalen Reagor with 49, and then the only one to have a receiving touchdown outside of Greg Ward, who only had 15 and 2 touchdowns, was Quez Watkins with 40 yards and a touchdown. And that's pretty much it. The defense was torn apart by Arizona, but, it's Arizona. They're a really good team in terms of offense, and that's pretty much it. But anyways, on to Dallas. Against the 49ers, I didn't think you would win, but you did. Andy Dalton threw for 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rush was Tony Pollard with 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. So maybe Tony Pollard should be the number 1 back right now because, Zeke is just not doing well. Production each year is slowly going down. Nothing else to say there. Lead receiver was CeeDee Lamb with 85 yards, but he did also return a onside kick for a touchdown, so that's pretty good. Followed by Tony Pollard with 63 yards, Michael Gallup with 26 and a touchdown, and finish it up with Dalton Schultz, 14 yards and a touchdown. But in terms of receiving, in terms of the defense, had some trouble against the 49ers, even though you did force 4 turnovers. They kept it really close. They scored 33, but ultimately you pulled out in the end. Philly, they are favored to win this one by 1.5. I'm going to say that they win and cover this. And now you have our Sunday Night Football matchup between the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers. Starting out with the Titans, Ryan Tannehill gets absolutely no credit. Like, people say he's overrated, is carried by Derrick Henry, but no, he is a top QB. He's a top 10 QB right now. Right now, I'd maybe have him around like 7 or 8. So he's pretty damn good. He threw for 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Derrick Henry, although he still had a good game with 147 yards and a touchdown. But Tannehill also had 21 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Lead receiver was Corey Davis with 110 yards and a touchdown, followed by Janu Smith with 52 yards, and then A.J. Brown rallied that out with 44 yards and a touchdown. And that was pretty much it. The defense had a little bit of trouble against the Lions, but ultimately Titans prevailed in the end with a 46-25 victory. So good job. And then the Packers against the Panthers. You guys kind of did what you do last year. Either you would not show up for the first half and then just barely scrape out a victory in the second half, or you would show up in the first half, gain a good lead, and then just check out. You did the latter, where you start off good and then check out. Aaron Rodgers threw for 143 yards and a touchdown, but he wasn't the main guy. He was Aaron Jones with 145 yards and a touchdown, followed by Aaron Rodgers, who had 26 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Alan Lazard with 56 yards, and Devontae Adams followed that up with 42 yards. The only one to have a touchdown was Robert Tonyan with 18 yards and a touchdown. The defense, although in the first half it was amazing, was stopping Carolina, but in the second half you allowed them to come back, but you did stuff them on the final drive, so good job. The Packers are favored to win this one by 3.5, but they struggle against the run, and I'm going to just say it. Titans are going to abuse Derrick Henry this game. He's just going to run over Lambeau Field and become the king himself. So Titans win. And now you have our final Monday Night Football matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. Starting out with the Bills, you guys are legit. You guys are, to me, the best team in the AFC, outside the Chiefs. So, yeah. Anyways, Josh Allen had a great day through for 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Zach Moss ran for 81 yards. Devin Singletary ran for 68 yards and a touchdown. And Josh Allen capped that off with 33 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lead receiver was Stephon Diggs with 147 yards. But someone who gets nowhere near enough recognition is, of course, Cole Beasley with 112 yards. Followed by Dawson Knox with 36 yards and a touchdown. And Kumaro with 22 yards and a touchdown. Anyways, your defense stopped the Broncos. And you did return a fumble for a touchdown. So great job, boys. And then the Patriots, you guys are dead. You guys are done. Patriots, I see no hope in you. Cam Newton, 209 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Sony Michel, it was nothing against the Dolphins. Lead receiver was Jacoby Myers with 111 yards. Right now, all I can say for you is that Cam Newton, he's not going to have a starting job come the end of the season. Even though it was a low gamble, only about $1 million worth spent overall, he's not. He's not going to be your starting option. But there's going to be some tension going into this game, especially with what the Bills pulled off with their little stunt. Getting voted best fan base for the best NFL team fan base, and of course, you put that billboard right on US Route 1. So Patriots fans will get a nice look when they go to see this game. But anyways, Bills are favored to win this by 7. Give me the Bills. Win, cover the spread, number 2 seed. Easy. That is going to wrap up my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We're getting near that playoff prediction video. Still got one more prediction video to go. Week 17 coming out next week. Of course, I'm going to be filming it a little bit closer to game time because, you know, I got to wait till all the matches get flexed over. But anyways, make sure you drop a like to this video, subscribe to my channel, comment down below what else you liked about this video. Who do you have as your upset of the week, lock of the week? My upset of the week, of course, is going to be Titans over Packers. And if you want to see all my other prediction videos and all my other Saints recaps, links to all that will be in the description below. And hey guys, happy holidays everyone, and I love you all. The people who still support my channel. Stay safe out there, wear a mask, and stop the spread. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Who Dat Nation with the Blue Jays hat, Blue Jays sweater.